Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Ben with Swift English. So now we're going to take a look at another TOEFL reading passage walkthrough, but this time we're going to be focusing on an art related topic. These are less common on the exam, but you could be faced with something related to art, related to music, related to theater. So it's good to have some kind of an idea of how to approach these. Okay, but in general, for the most part, the techniques are the same. So regardless if you get a science or art-based topic, you want to follow the same steps. But this is going to feel kind of like a review again. So again, when you notice the title of the passage, the use of the camera obscura, try to activate your background knowledge. So maybe it's like the word use can tell me it's related to like using something related to a camera, even if I don't know what the heck obscura means, right? So maybe it could be related to a method, a technique, right? Steps involving a camera. You get the point. So when you approach the first question, you want to know what question type you're dealing with again, right? So what can be inferred? There we go, inference question. About Giovanni Battista della Porta, if I pronounce that correctly. So it seems like some kind of Italian, scientist or writer, some kind of famous person. Contribution. And that's a common word you'll see with these famous people or important figures, to camera obscura. So we found our set of keywords. You want to find it right away. So let's see. Precursor of modern camera, camera obscura, okay, is a darkened enclosure into which light is admitted through a lens in a small hole. So I gotta find that guy. Darkened enclosure. This technique was known as long ago as the 5th century BC in China. Okay. If it's known in this country, Aristotle, so Greece, right, also experimented with it in the 4th century BC, and Leonardo da Vinci also was used in Italy, right? Described in it in his notebooks in 1490. Okay, so I see like a pattern, right? So while you're reading this, always activate these patterns in the back of your mind as well. It could help later on. So this technique or whatever it is, it was used at least in 3 different countries like China, Greece, Italy. In 1558, Giovanni Battista della Porta, that's our guy, keywords, wrote in his 20-volume work, Magia Naturalis, meaning natural magic. They defined it here. Instructions for adding a convex lens to improve the quality of the image thrown against a canvas or panels. Okay, stop right there. We want to just double check the question again. So what can we understand about his support, his contribution to this? Okay. So he's improving the quality by adding some kind of lens, convex lens. You don't have to know what kind of lens this is. That's fine. That's too technical. Just know what's going on here. Quality of the image thrown against a canvas or a panel in the darkened area where its outlines could be traced. Okay. So he's improving the quality and somehow this helps them trace something like an image. He translated a Chinese description. No. So key theme here, guys. Whenever you find the right answers or the wrong answers, the keywords are going to help you. Chinese description is not something we read that was related to Giovanni Battista. No, eliminate. Choice B, his convex lens made the projected image easier to trace. Maybe, but let's check C and D. His version of the camera obscura allowed for the later addition of a mirror. I didn't read anything about a mirror, no. So we're left with B and D. His improvements relied heavily on design changes proposed early. No, he didn't rely on anything by Leonardo da Vinci. This is just false information. Just because Leonardo was mentioned in the text doesn't mean this information is accurate. They're just making up information here. B is the right answer. Move on. Okay, vocab question shouldn't take too long. So portable, I know this is when we can move something, right? Transport something, but just double check the sentence later. Portable camera, yeah. You could take it where you want. Obscuras were developed with interior. Okay. So, well, yeah, portable versions of these camera obscuras. Okay. So valuable, no. Has nothing to do with movement. Practical, that's more like useful, but that's not what portable means. Movable, yeah, that sounds right. And just check the last one. No, it has nothing to do with popularity. So C is the choice. The word projected in the passage, another vocab and context. So read the sentence with it, always double check. Mirrors were also used to reverse the projected images to their original positions. I know that projected means something that's like displayed or shown or seen, right? Observable. Has to be one of these. Whole? No, that's not what it quite means, no. Corrected? No, it's not about fixing it. Enlarged. You could enlarge a projection, but here we want to know what projected means. It doesn't mean to make bigger. Shown, yeah, something that's seen, visible, shown. So D's right. All right, so paragraph 2 answers which of the following questions about paintings by Vermeer. So be careful, guys. These are a kind of new question type they've been using a lot in a lot of TOEFL reading passages. They're basically detailed factual questions, but in the form of a question. I know, really weird, kind of mind-blowing. So what you want to do, figure out like what they want you to know, right? So paragraph 2 answers, it's going to answer, these 4 questions. Which of the following questions, these are your choices, about paintings by Vermeer. So these are our keywords. The paintings, Vermeer did, right? So, okay, paintings by Vermeer. So before you even look at this, because it's going to answer it in this text, and it's probably going to be a long one because they have 4 questions here, you want to check this first. What characteristics, traits, elements, so I need proof of that, of Vermeer's paintings suggest that he may have used camera obscura. Okay, so let's see. Did some of the great masters of painting did this? I need to run into Vermeer and his paintings. I'm now looking for such, one of the artists is the great Dutch master Jan Vermeer. There we go. So we're in the right spot. Now we need to know what characteristics he may have used. So like, is that answered in this text? Let's see. Who lived from this time to this time during the flowering of art and science in the Netherlands, included the science of optics. No, I didn't read anything. Keep going. Vermeer again, produced only about 30 known paintings, including his famous The Art of Painting. Well, this is a quantity. It's not has nothing to do with characteristics or traits or elements of his paintings, aspects of his paintings. The room shown in it closely resembles the room in other Vermeer paintings, with light coming from a window on the left. That's a characteristic or a trait, an attribute. The same roof beams and similar floor tiles. So far, it feels like A. Let's keep skim reading quickly, suggesting that was fitted with this. The map hung, That's a characteristic. When one of them did not have this. Yeah, these all seem like aspects, traits, characteristics. So A is the answer. And then move on. Don't check all 4 if you know A is the answer. If you didn't see them answer A, then go through, the rest of them. And, some really advanced tips here. When you have like a what kind of question, what characteristics, what features, what qualities, you can expect it to be really open when it comes to these details. They're going to list a bunch of details as we just saw. When you have something like a why question, you want to think reasons, like something because of this, since this. It seems that, they're going to give some kind of reason. If you have a do question, that's kind of a weird one because we usually answer yes or no with do questions. Probably that's a wrong answer in most cases. And again, you have this why, so it's going to involve a reason for something, okay? All right, but let's move on. Question 5, sentence highlight. Okay, so jump to it right away. One of the artists whose paintings are being analyzed from this point of view. Now, it helps if you have something vague like this, a pronoun, this, those, these. You need to know what they're referring to. This point of view is referring to the point of view involving camera obscura. Remember? Don't lose track of the topic, the overall topic. So, of camera obscura point of view is the great Dutch master Jan Vermeer, who lived from this time to this time during they kind of define this time, this era, during the flowering of art and science in the Netherlands. So this was what was happening in, the Netherlands, including the science of optics. Okay, so this is another kind of development that happened at that time. So they should definitely mention Jan Vermeer, otherwise why would they mention him in the first place? So one artist with a particularly interesting point of view about the use of was him, okay, who lived in this time. Well, I don't like this. So far they don't even define like what happened in that time, pretty vague. The other issue I have with this is particularly interesting point of view. Why particularly interesting? Do they have any words that reflect that there? No. Wrong. See, you're using keywords to either get the right answer or eliminate them. Works for any question type. Historical analysis, so that's like more than one analysis, right? So historical analyses suggest that Dutch masters were interested in the science of optics, Okay, so they may have used camera obscura to trace images. So right away, red flag, Dutch masters. Where's Jan Vermeer? They should be focusing on him, right? He's the important guy here. But this is really vague, wrong. So eliminate. Now you're down to choice C and D. The use of camera obscura is being analyzed in the paintings of Jan Vermeer. Now be careful, guys. So like I said, oh, but teacher, Mr. Ben, they didn't mention camera obscura in the highlighted text, so therefore it can't be choice C. Wrong. I told you, guys, if they use pronouns like this or these or those, even like his or her, and they don't mention that subject here at all, or that noun, whatever, check the previous sentences just to get clarity. So we know that this is about camera obscura, okay? Based on the information we could quickly read there. So don't lose track of that. So far this is fine. This is true. They did mention this. They're talking about it here. And they talked about the time he lived in. They were specific about it. So at that time, art and science were flourishing. They were progressing there. Now just check D just in case, because these are tricky question types. Sometimes there could be another option or choice that could be close to C. One view held by historians is that most Dutch masters were as interested in art as they were in science. And that, again, they don't even talk about Jan Vermeer. Forget about the rest of it. C has to be the answer. All right, it had all the essential details. What does paragraph 2 indicate? What does it say about Vermeer's the art of painting? Okay, so find the art of painting are key words, right? So, okay, we kind of read part of this. This was in the highlighted sentence as well, so go faster. Vermeer produced only about 30 known paintings, including the art of painting. We're in the right spot. Okay, carefully read this. The room shown in it closely resembles the room in... So at this point, you want to check for the first one. It is the first in a series of about 30 paintings that he created. Okay, I read this. He produced about 30 paintings, but they didn't say first. Okay? And I'm reading, and you're going, you don't see that. They didn't say first. So A is wrong. It may have been painted by one of his students. Again, reset to the original position. His students, you're going, and it didn't mention that anywhere. So B is wrong. It was in his possession until his death in 1675. You're going through it. No, I don't see it. Wrong. So by process of elimination, it's D, but I just want to show you that it is D just for your own understanding. It has the same setting as several other works of his. Is that true? So, okay, the art of painting has the same setting as other paintings. So the room shown in it closely resembles the room in other Vermeer paintings. That's it. That's it. You don't have to read the rest of it. You just discovered it right there. So you're done. So choice D is right. All right, so the word faithful, vocab and context. So primary, definition of faithful, most of us know, is like you're loyal to something, you're steadfast, you're devoted to something. It's like a very religious word sometimes. But when you read the sentence, read it just to be sure. The map hung on the opposite wall was a real map in Vermeer's possession, reproduced in such faithful detail. Okay. It doesn't sound like loyal in this context. That's some kind of tracery is suspected in such blank detail. So even though I know the primary definition of this word, but not the secondary or tertiary definitions, I could still figure it out by process of elimination. So would unusual mean faithful in any context? Probably not. This sounds really off. Unusual is like strange, weird. No. Extensive is kind of like extra, right? Or something that goes beyond something. No, I don't think so. Exact is actually the secondary definition of faithful. But even if I didn't know that, when I look at the word detail, and if I plug in exact, in such exact detail, in such precise detail, it kind of fits, it collocates. The word sense sounds great. So based on that, you could get choice C, even if you didn't know that this was the secondary definition of faithful. Okay, guys? So just plug them in, and that's a good backup strategy. And no, it doesn't mean historical. All right, so why does the author provide the information that we have this rhetorical purpose question? So like, what's the purpose of this? What's the reason he highlights the sentence? When one of Vermeer's paintings was x-rayed, it did not have any preliminary sketches on the canvas beneath the paint, but rather the complete image drawn in black and white without any trial sketches. Okay, so this is it right here. Now, remember what I said? Like, if you don't remember this paragraph really well, start in the beginning. But usually they ask these kinds of questions after you've had prior questions related to most of these paragraphs. So we already kind of read that information before. So focus on the sentence before, just for the sake of time. The map hung here, reproduced this. Okay, so they suspect tracery. And then when they x-rayed it, basically, this is a relationship with this sentence. It did not have any preliminary signs, right? Sketches. And then when you read this sentence, let's see if there's any clues here. Vermeer did not have any students. Okay, interesting. Did not keep any records. And did not encourage anyone to visit his studio. Now pay attention to this sentence. Facts, like proofs, that can be interpreted, understood, as protecting his secret use of a camera obscura. So now let's take a look at this. To provide an example of a way to learn about the practices of artists who did not keep good records. Who did not keep good records? What? No, they didn't really discuss that. Doesn't make any sense. To emphasize, to stress Vermeer's confidence. This keyword tells me it's wrong. And skill as an artist. None of this is about confidence. They don't really discuss that here. So there has to be a word that gives it away, guys. Always think of keywords in the answers. Correct ones or wrong ones. To provide evidence, proof that Vermeer may have traced, it's possible, the image using a camera obscura. That matches the topic too, yeah. Because this sentence here gives it away. All these aspects, right? And this information here, facts that can be interpreted as protecting his secret use of camera obscura. Well, there you go. Now check D, because these are kind of tricky question types. To argue that Vermeer did his preliminary sketching on paper rather than... No, it has nothing to do with the material. All right. So here we're facing an except question. Hockney, keyword, find him, because that's where you're going to begin searching for this information. Believes that all of the following indicate, show, right, the use of camera obscura except what? So what are the signs of camera obscura based on what Hockney is explaining? So in recent times, the British artist David Hockney has published, okay, and yeah, his secret use of the camera obscura. So this is your starting point. Now you want to immediately start skimming and scanning for these one by one, immediately. Very detailed, realistic work. Okay, claiming that for up to 400 years, many of Western art's greatest masters probably used a device to produce almost photographically realistic details. That's it. Photographically realistic details, very detailed, realistic work. It's synonymous. They're just paraphrasing here. A is true, can't be the answer. What about option B? Increased contrast between light and dark. So reset, come here, just in case you miss it. Claiming that for up to this, okay, light and dark, contrasting it. So there's a list of artists, just keep going through that. Compresses the complicated forms of a three-dimensional scene in two-dimensional shapes. Be patient, guys, sometimes it can take a while. Some of these can take 2 minutes if it's a hard one. Be traced and also increases the contrast between light and dark. There we go. So they mentioned that cannot be the answer. All the following except one of them's wrong or not mentioned. Oversimplification, find this word or something synonymous to it, like a synonym, of forms when the image is traced. Oversimplification. So we could go faster because we kind of read this stuff. You're going through it. Oversimplification. Oversimplification. I see complicated. No, that's kind of the opposite. Foreshortening, No. It's not there, so probably C's the answer because it's not even mentioned. But let's just check D. I just want to show you that it is there. So complicated foreshortening of objects. So again, you come back to your original spot. Now you read this, you could go a little bit faster, and then you come here, and Jan Dermage, the complicated foreshortening, a technique. There we go. There was a typo here. This should be separated, but yeah, foreshortening of the technique. So yeah, C is the answer. Now on the actual exam, if you know it's C, you don't have to check D. Just save time and move on. So intricate, okay, I know this word in real life is something complex or complicated, but read the sentence just in case they're using a secondary or a tertiary definition of the word. So, okay, it appeared to recede in the space in the chandelier and the intricate detail. Well, there you go. Now I'm really confident. It's related to something that's complex, right? Surprising? No. Complex? Yeah, there we go. Check beautiful, clear. No, they're off. So choice B is the right answer. The word diminish, another vocab in context. So find it first. So what are we to conclude? If these artists did use a camera obscura, does that diminish their stature? So I know that diminish kind of means like reduce or weaken in real life. Even if you didn't know, maybe just pay attention to the words here. They might help you. Like, did something to their stature. Stature is like their importance, their height, right? Their status. So if it did something to it, let's see. So reduce, yeah. Well, I already knew this one, so I could pick A and move on, but check the rest of them. Affect means to change. That's pretty unclear, and it doesn't just mean diminish at all. Reflect, no, that doesn't mean diminish. Determine is like to decide something, right? To figure something out, but no, it doesn't mean diminish, like to weaken, to reduce. All right. So question 12. According to paragraph 4, what does Hockney, so that's our key word again, argue about the use of camera obscura in producing art? What is his argument here, right? What's the main idea he wants to state here? So what are we to conclude? If these artists did use a camera obscura, does that diminish their stature? Hockney, okay, we're in the right spot. Pay attention here. And we have the word argues, contends. So there you go, you're in the right spot. What does he say? That the camera obscura doesn't replace, doesn't substitute artistic skill in drawing and painting. Oh, okay. Now check this, see if this is enough. If it's not, we'll read the rest, but this might be enough. So works produced using camera obscura do not deserve as much respect. He didn't say anything about respect. That doesn't make any sense. So this here, red flag, wrong answer, eliminates it. Choice B, the camera obscura was probably used mainly, be careful of these kinds of words, extreme language, as a training device rather than used in producing finished works. I didn't see anything about training device, red flag. I didn't see anything about producing finished works, at least up to where I read. So no, B is wrong. Let's check C and D, right? Something about replacing artistic skills. So the use of the camera obscura by Western arts great masters was probably relatively rare. Relatively rare? Extreme language again. And they don't talk about the, replacing the artistic skill in drawing and painting. So no. So by way of elimination, it's D, but you want to also just check really quick. While the use of the camera obscura may have helped artists, okay, they still needed to have significant artistic ability. Yeah, that's what this means right here. It does not replace their skill in drawing and painting. And if you weren't sure, if you read the rest of it too, and experiencing with it, you found that it is actually quite difficult. So we use actually to make a correction, right? To reveal new information that we didn't expect. Difficult to use for drawing. And he speculates that artists probably combine their observations from life with tracing of shapes. That would have helped a little bit as well. So yeah, D is the answer here. All right. We're almost done. Sentence insertion. All of these developments help artists to create accurate images of objects, people, and scenes. We don't have a transition word, so that's not the pattern here. But even though it's a general sentence, we notice a plural noun right here. Let that help you. Maybe they say all these qualities or all these characteristics, all these developments. Let these kinds of words define the information you're looking for. Okay, so it's about developments. So I can assume it's probably going to be one of the final options, either square 3 or square 4, naturally. By saying all these developments, it's information that they've already discussed, already mentioned, and they're going to kind of wrap it up at the end. So let's see. All right, so this stuff we actually read before. It was in paragraph 1, so kind of speed up and start with the sentence before it. Oh my God, this is a huge sentence. It actually starts here. In 1558, Giovanni Battista della Porta wrote in his 20-volume work, Magia Naturalis, meaning natural magic. Yeah, I remember this. Instruction for adding this to improve the quality. Yeah, I remember that. It was to improve like how they trace stuff. So, okay, blank, all these developments. Why all these? He just mentioned one kind of development there, right? All right. Later, portable camera obscuras were developed, with interior mirrors and da-da-da. Okay, so this is a development. This is some kind of like innovation, right? So it still feels early. Let's check C and D. So for the artist or the rest of the sentences, this technique allows forms and linear perspective to be drawn precisely as they would seen from a single viewpoint. Okay, mirrors were also, and you always want to check all four because some of them are close. Mirrors were also, notice that word also, transition device, used to reverse the projected images to their original positions. So all of these are like techniques, methods, developments, right? So yeah, it has to be squared D. And you would just click this and that's the answer. So final question. So, okay, main idea. So you know the title of the passage, right? It's about camera obscura. Everything here has to be about camera obscura, clearly. The camera obscura is darkened enclosure into which light is emitted through a lens in a small hole. They actually defined it here in the topic sentence. So evidence that the use of the camera obscura has long been known is provided by its description in many sources, including works dating back to Chinese writers from the 5th century BC. Well, I remember like when we tried to answer question 1, I'll show you really quick, we're gonna cheat. We had this question about this Italian guy, right? And when we were reading this, we remember they talk about China, Leonardo da Vinci in Italy, Aristotle in Greece, right? So they talk about these possible sources of camera obscura. They think they discovered this in many places, right? So based on this, many sources, that question 1, when we were looking for the answer to it, it kind of helped us remember this. So this could be a main idea. If you're not sure, just leave it to the side, come back, okay? So the camera obscura was most widely used. Be careful of this kind of language, okay? So most widely, definitely, always, never, extreme language. By artists in 17th century Netherlands, a period when art and science thrived. Okay, so maybe, but I'm surprised they didn't mention Jan Vermeer. And okay, so let's check C, D, E, and F. So some historians would have studied paintings by Western masters, have found. And one thing about B I don't like, they're kind of focusing on a period of time. Usually those are wrong. So some historians who have studied paintings by Western masters have found clues indicating that masters may have secretly used the camera obscura in their works. Yeah, we had a question about Jan Vermeer. Remember how they said there's like possible evidence that he used it and it was a rhetorical purpose question, right? Why did the author highlight this phrase, right? Why did he mention this bit of information? So that matches that question. So I'm 100% sure about C. And I'm feeling good about A. Well, I already showed you guys. So yeah, A is a main topic as well. Now let's check D, E, and F. The unique features of Vermeer's The Art of Painting make it unlikely that it was made with camera obscura as opposed to his other works. So be careful, and some hard ones. So we remember The Art of Painting in one of our questions, but the funny thing about choice D here is this is the opposite information of what was in that question and answer. We think he did use it actually. So some of the wrong answers could be opposite information. So be aware of that. All right, so it's probably not D. Choice E, it is now widely believed that the use of camera obscura led to the development of now widely believed suspicious language, okay? So whenever they use these kind of weird adverbs like widely believed, like really believed, you know, usually they're wrong. Okay, led to, so this is like a false cause and effect relationship, the development of style of photographic realism in this. Maybe they said something else about photographic realism in Western art, but not that this led to that. This is such specific information that I didn't remember this in any of my questions, nor did I remember this in any of my clue sentences and answers to the questions. All right, so choice F, the artist David Hockney, we had 2 questions, I believe, about him. Near the end, has speculated that artists probably combined the use of camera obscura with their original observations from life. Yeah, we had one question that was exactly about this. Remember that they didn't just rely on this technique, but they also used their experience as an artist to, you know, form their work, not just camera obscura. So yeah, F is a main idea. A is a main idea, right? It was a little bit harder to figure out compared to the other ones, but we did remember that from question 1. So A, C, and F are your correct answers. And you would drag those and put them in the box. I hope you loved this one. Please do subscribe, like, and share this, and I'll see you guys next time.